Today we do have, as Lisa mentioned, Donovan. Sean is, I like this, passionate, is infuriated over our nation's health and economic crisis and the direct correlation between the two. Rather than turning a blind eye or becoming another statistic in a broken system, Sean has taken a proactive approach by forming a grassroots reform organization, Grow. Passionate about helping people attain peak performance, Sean is proud to call himself a wellness revolutionary. He is a pioneer in spreading health, happiness, and success to everyone through his workplace wellness programs and individual coaching. Sean also wrote the book on health and happiness. Today, Sean will redefine corporate culture and workplace wellness. Please welcome Sean.
Thank you, guys. It's great to be here this morning. It's a beautiful day, right? Folks, just the very fact that we woke up this morning and we're sitting here breathing today necessitates it's going to be a great day. Yes or yes? Yes. All right. So some quick housekeeping here. I'm going to pass around this basket. At the end of my program today, I'm going to do a drawing. I'm going to give away a personalized copy of my Health and Happiness and Owner's Manual for the Mind and Body book. I'll pass this around. You can notice the difference between the two books. The personalized book has a person's name on it and merged throughout the text. So if you win today, I'm going to send you a special personalized copy of that. For everybody else, I'm going to make available the program today on a special online program that I have. So I'll email you a log-on and password, and you can access today's program if you wish to share it with your office or loved ones or otherwise. So let's get right into it. Today we're going to cover grassroots reform, 3 elements of change, 6 key program components for an effective enrichment or wellness program. I'm going to leave you guys with a couple of tangible takeaways that you can implement in your lives right away, easy, free, and now, that will dramatically change your productivity and profitability. Sound good? Yeah. Got a question for you to ponder here for a second. Let's get personal. Is health and healthcare a personal choice? Just kind of think about that for a little while. Next question. Who do you listen to? Who do you listen to in life? Experts? People with degrees, designations, certificates? Maybe. People who practice things? Question for you. Does practice make perfect? No. Perfect practice makes you perfect. Practicing something wrong just makes you really bad at that one thing, right? True or true? People often ask me if I'm a doctor. Let me share with you my first experience as a doctor. I go way back to my childhood pediatrician. I distinctly remember that man reeking of cigarettes and coffee, and he was morbidly obese. I hated going to him. It wasn't that I was afraid of needles or anything. I had this like aha moment when I was younger. It was kind of ironic that a doctor was so unhealthy. Now, I don't have anything against doctors. Not all doctors are like that. That was just my first impression of doctors. So, am I a doctor? Nope. But I tell everyone that I earned my PhD in practicing health daily. Now, what about certifications? What are my qualifications? That's a valid question. Has anyone heard of Tony Robbins?
Yes.
Can anybody tell me where he went to college or where his certifications are?
I don't think he went to college.
Right. He went to the same college that many of us went to, and that's the University of Life. What about certifications? Well, Tony has helped millions and millions of people, including myself. Tony follows a very important 3-word principle that I also follow, and that's learn, do, teach. Tony learned from great mentors like Jim Rohn. He practiced what they preach and did what they taught him, and through the collective wisdom of his mentors and then his own experiences in life, he became qualified to teach others. And that's a 3-word principle that I've adhered to all my life. So, who am I? It's a great introduction. Thank you, Susie. But who am I really? And quite honestly, folks, I'm just a guy that cares about helping people live better lives. I've always wanted to live a great life, but I've had a lot of motivation along the way. I had some pretty scary things happen very close to me and my family that scared me straight, so to speak, and made me change my lifestyle 3 members of the mother's side of my family were cut wide open from ear to ear and lost part or all of their colon. My grandmother lived the last decade of her life with a colostomy bag, and that is a fate that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. You get 2 type 2 diabetic parents, both overweight. Father's had 2 knees and a big toe joint replaced in the last few years. Grandfather, quadruple bypass surgery. Great aunt died of ovarian cancer. The list goes on and on. It's a mile long of health problems in my family. And it's these problems that motivated me 18 years ago to make some drastic changes, because I learned an interesting concept. You know, our genes really load the gun, but it's our lifestyle that pulls the trigger. None of those health problems were quite as startling, though, as the situation that happened with my younger brother. At age 24, he had a stroke. Crazy story. My sister-in-law was on her way out the door one morning to go to work. She heard a noise. Something told her to go back and check on my brother. She opened the bathroom door. There he is, face down in the bathroom floor, pants around his ankles. He had a stroke while he was on the job. So when I got the call, I mean, of course, I was devastated. I was terrified, but I was not surprised, and here's why. 2 weeks prior, I was living in Virginia Beach at the time. My brother lived right down the street. 2 weeks prior, I had gone to his house. We were going to have a relaxing little surf session. And I walked in on an extremely heated conversation that he was having with a home inspector. He was a realtor, and so was I at the time. And he was just going off on this guy. I'm not going to repeat what he said. He's very opposite of me, where I'm cool and mellow and calm. He's very emotional and animated. And I walked in and I thought, man, all this pink around the room. His face was 10 shades of pink and beet red. I could see every vein in his forehead and neck. And he was just going on and on. I sat down, turned on a little reggae music, and relaxed. So finally he hung up, and we went surfing, and he could not let it go. I mean, for hours in between every wave, he was just still talking about this guy. And finally I said, bro, look, I don't care how much commission you have riding on this deal. It's not worth your life. You're going to kill yourself. You're going to have a heart attack, panic attack, something is going to get you. So 2 weeks later, bang. Now, he spent the next 6 weeks of his life on his back, relearning fine motor skills, relearning how to speak because he had partial paralysis in his face. Now, thank God he's okay now, and that scared him into making some changes in his life. But every once in a while, he reverts back, and I remind him how detrimental of a force stress is in your life. And it really taught me to put things in perspective, and I learned to never let professional stress become that much of a detriment in my life. So why am I really here today? Like, what really motivated me to change careers, to follow my passion, to speak, and to spread the word about health? Well, it's very apropos that I'm speaking today with all the pink and with Breast Cancer Month coming up. This lovely young lady here was an incredible employee. I managed a real estate brokerage firm up in Richmond, Virginia, and I was responsible for doing the hiring and firing and training and all that good stuff. And the minute this woman walked through the door, I'm sure you guys have had this feeling before, where you just know, I don't care what the certification is, this is somebody that has to work for me. She was an absolute standout. So I hired her on the spot, and she did not disappoint. She showed up early, she stayed late, she was meticulous, always smiling, never heard her complain, not once. Every single person in the office loved her to death. But Kathleen taught me a thing or two. Her sales volume was not so good. She was a leasing agent, and it took me a couple months to figure out why. But whereas all my other agents were running a paper mill, they were renting right and left, all their paperwork had problems, their tenants had complaints, there was a lot of more work on my part as manager and owner. Kathleen never had a complaint. In fact, her customers and her tenants would go out of their way to write 2- and 3-page letters of praise and recommendation, how she would show up on Sunday, how she would bring people flowers or a doormat when they moved in. Her residents typically stayed 2.5 to 3 times longer than other residents. So I threw her sales quote out the window and called it the Kathleen factor. Well, one morning she comes into work with a little bit of a limp in one of her legs. And I immediately noticed, I said, Kathleen, what's wrong? She goes, I must have slept on my leg wrong, no big deal. So she grabs her key box, goes on about her day of showing 2nd and 3rd floor apartments in 100-year-old buildings with no elevators. By the end of the day, she came back to turn in her key box, and she was literally dragging her leg behind her. I said, oh my God, what the heck? She said, yeah, no big deal, I'm gonna go get it checked out. So I was a little concerned about her, but I had a million things going, I kind of put it out of my mind until next morning at 6 a.m. I get a call from her, and she's freaking out. Now, people, she's not freaking out because she's in the hospital with total paralysis from the waist down. She's freaking out because she's worried who is gonna cover her appointments for the day. I said, Kathleen, I got this one. So I grabbed her appointments, I showed all the apartments. End of the day, I grabbed one of my leasing agents. We went to the hospital to visit her. I knew right away it wasn't good because they had admitted her into a room. So myself and my associate walk in, and there she is laying in bed, same big smile on her face, and she proceeds to tell us that she just found out some interesting news. She's got a second battle to fight. Well, none of us had any idea that she had fought a first battle. None of us had any idea that she was a breast cancer survivor at age 32. Double mastectomy, chemo, radiation, clean bill of health, out the door by the medical profession. 4 years later, comes back, hits her lymph system, her vital organs, her spine, her brain, and in 90 days, we watched one of the most painful, horrible demises that a human being could possibly go through. And you know what now? Up until the night before she died, she never lost that smile and that incredible attitude. I saw her the night before she died, and I promised her that I was going to do something about it. I promised her I was going to get out and spread the word about health. Now, I had already been highly motivated by health problems in my family. I was already living a healthy lifestyle, but this just kicked it into a whole nother gear. So the book that I'm passing around there's an entire chapter in there devoted to her called You Only Live Once. In fact, she really inspired me to write that whole book. So let's get personal again. I'm going to ask you the question, is health and healthcare a personal choice? Now, when I go out and meet with many business owners and business leaders and talk to them about implementing wellness programs, this is an objection that I hear quite often. Well, you know, health is such a personal thing, and what people do on their own time, you know, there's a line there that we don't want to cross. So, were health problems in my family personal issues? No, because I can tell you what, when my mom went through her surgery and my father went through his, it affected me a lot. You know, I had to contribute, I had to help, I had to worry, all those things. When my brother had his stroke, same thing, it affected all the family and friends. And when Kathleen went through what she went through, let me tell you folks, we might as well have hung the closed sign on the door and shut the entire office down for 3 months, because we got absolutely positively not a thing done. So if you hire me and trust me to work for your company, and I go out on my personal time and make some very bad decisions, drink, smoke, don't exercise, eat fast food, then have a heart attack and survive and drive the insurance rates up, Lisa, insurance rates up, right? Company-wide, is that now a personal choice? No, it's affected the bottom line of the company. If I'm sick all the time and you guys have an empty chair to fill and my absenteeism is affecting the productivity of the company, is that a personal choice? No. If I'm showing up to work and being a trooper, but I'm showing up stressed out and worried about personal problems, divorce, all these other things going on, or I've got pain that's constantly distracting me, is that personal choice? No, because it's affecting everybody's productivity and profitability. Good old Coney. How did we come to bear as employers this 10-ton monkey on our backs for employer-sponsored healthcare? Anybody know how companies came to bear that burden? I'll give you a little history lesson. The beginnings of it can be traced back to the Great Depression, when employers, and money was tight, they would just do anything to try to help their employees any way they can. But really, employer-sponsored healthcare came into vogue during World War II in the early 40s, when the federal government capped wages for all civilians. So employers had to find creative ways to throw bonuses and benefits to employees. So healthcare made sense at the time. It really was a good idea, because back then healthcare was much more affordable. Food production was healthier, people were more active, and people were vested with their company. My grandparents' generation, my grandparents, my grandmother, my aunt, they all retired from the same company they went to work for after high school. So employers knew that if they invested in those employees, there would be a long return. Nowadays, what's the average term? A year and a half or so sometimes in jobs. So employers are thinking, well, if we spend all this money on a program, put it into the people, they're just going to be gone in a year and a half and somebody else is going to benefit. So the irony is it was needed much less back then. But the trend started, and nonetheless it continued, and now Obamacare and all legislation and we're just burdened with so much responsibility and paperwork, when really it comes down to people taking control and taking care of themselves and their own health on a grassroots level. And when I say grassroots, I mean through the daily choices and decisions they make. Because every single thing we do absolutely matters, personally and professionally. Yes or yes? Picture's worth a million words. I mean, this is the boat we've put ourselves in, unfortunately, and it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So we're absolutely experiencing a broken sick care system right now. And if our current healthcare model in this country worked, and I don't know there's many people that would dispute that it doesn't work, but wouldn't there be a decreased need for medical services, and thus wouldn't there be a decreased need, or a decreased cost rather, if you apply supply and demand? Wouldn't insurance companies have reduced claims and then be able to lower their rates if the system that we had was working? Wouldn't our national healthcare statistics be improving and not declining? Yeah, sure, we hear people are living longer these days, etc. But I don't know about you guys, for me, it's not the length of my life that matters, it's the absolute quality of life that matters. So we're gonna test these theories. I'm gonna put you guys through a quick little test, okay? All right, ready? Number one, since 1950, the average cost of goods and services increased 8-fold. How much has healthcare increased? Raise your hand if you think it's A, 16 times, B, 145 times, or C, 274 times. And folks, unfortunately, you're right. And all these statistics, by the way, are a product of the Wellness Council of America's 2011 statistics. You can go to wellcoa.org to verify. In 1980, the U.S. healthcare expenditure was $253 billion with a B. In 1990, it rose to $217 billion. What was the total for 2008? Was it A, $193 billion, B, $479 billion, or C, $2.3 trillion with a T? C, and once again, unfortunately, you're correct. But look at this: almost $200 billion alone to smoking-related costs. $500 billion to heart and stroke costs. Our number one killer in this country, heart disease. What percentage of America takes at least one prescription drug a day? And for bonus, what's the average cost of that drug? Is it A, 50% of America, B, 81%, or C, 33%? Who says A? Who says B? Who says C? Anybody want to take a stab at the average cost?
175.
Not quite that bad. 81% average cost of 70 bucks. Wow. A lot of drugs, a lot of pill popping, another picture that pretty much sums up healthcare system. Another question: in clinical trials, which method was found most effective in preventing type 2 diabetes? A, metformin drug, B, lifestyle intervention, or C, shocking answer, electric shock therapy. Who says A, metformin? Who says B, lifestyle intervention? And who wants to get shocked? Got my shock right here. Folks, it's lifestyle intervention, 58% reduction versus metformin of 31%. What are the current odds of a baby boomer having heart disease? A, 1 in 14, B, 1 in 12, C, 1 in 7, D, 1 in 5, E, 1 in 4. Who says A? Who says B? Who says C? Keep in mind, number one killer in our country, D, 1 in 5, or E, 1 in 4. Folks, unfortunately, once again, you're right. It is E, 1 in 4. But look at these other statistics. 1 in 14 diabetes, 1 in 12 asthma, 1 in 7 Alzheimer's, 1 in 5 arthritis. Not acceptable. Research indicates that 70% of deaths related to chronic disease could have been prevented with A, exercise and activity, B, education, C, diet and lifestyle, or D, all the above. Who says D, all the above? Raise your hand. Thank you. What percentage of people could use more education, motivation, and resources to increase their risk of disease and injury at work and at home? A, nobody. B, half of us. Or C, everyone. C, raise your hand, please. Folks, we are in some serious trouble. I mean, personally, professionally, we have got a lot of issues. And I'm not up here to be Donnie Downer. I'm a very positive guy, but I'm just facing the facts and the reality here. I mean, we're being ransacked by absenteeism, people out sick, lack of work ethic, family crisis, keeping them from work, they're being laid off due to the economy. Presenteeism, you can quantify absenteeism. We can run a report and see how many sick days were used last month, last year. But this is really what's crushing companies right now, the presenteeism. A lot of business owners, leaders I'm talking to are just saying, people just aren't as productive. They're coming into work distracted, personal problems are flowing over into the workplace. It's a product of the economy, and then the economy tanks, people have to make poor health choices. One of the first things you can cut is their food, and then they get sick, and then that ransacks their personal finances. It's just this vicious cycle that we're in right now. Income, inflation, insurance, man, we are in trouble. From 99 to 2008, inflation went up 29% in this country. Workers' wages went up slightly ahead of that, 34%. Insurance in the same period of time, 119%. If I had worked for any of you guys during that period of time, could I have expected to see a 119% raise? But if you're paying my benefits, absolutely. So who's paying for it? Well, the reality is we all are. Employer contributions are up, employee contributions are up, taxpayers are paying for it, we are all paying for it. We've got to fix this problem. A couple of startling statistics I found here. GM was reported as spending more on employee benefits than they do on sheet metal. Here's one of the largest car manufacturers in the world spending more on benefits than they do on sheet metal. Starbucks chairman came out and said that Starbucks, the world's largest coffee retailer, spends more on employee benefits than they do on the commodity that they buy and resell. It's mind-boggling how much money is spent on benefits. Yes, Mr. Einstein, you are absolutely right. The definition of insanity is to continue doing things the same way, yet expect different results. But how often do we do that in life? I know I find myself guilty of it from time to time. I'm like, no, wait a minute, gotta switch direction. So wow, enough is enough. It really is. We have to come to the point where we draw that line in the sand and we have to say, we're willing to make whatever change is necessary to change direction, to change the outcome, to change the state of our health and our economy. And it's gonna start one company at a time, one leader at a time, one person at a time. It is time for change. A great quote I love, if you want your life to change, then you have to change things in your life, right? Same thing applies to businesses. If you want your business to change, then you have to change things about your business. We've identified 3 key elements to change: motivation, education, and resources. Now, I told you about my motivations. They came in very strong fashion through my family's health problems, my brother's stress-induced incident, and Kathleen's passing. So that was my motivation. Education came to me in the form of some great mentors, resources. It was unbelievable once I started looking how many incredible resources were available. Now, without those 3 components, what I've found in working with people for the last 18 years is that you can take a horse to the water, but you can drown that horse trying to make it drink. So there has to be a perfect formula for change to exist. Now, I believe we found this formula and established it in our value proposition. Myself and my organization pride ourselves on initiating and facilitating positive change, and we do this 2 ways. We work with individuals one-on-one for life coaching to maximize their health, happiness, and success through our educational and enrichment programs. We also work with companies to redefine their corporate culture and establish workplace wellness to increase productivity and profitability. But we believe that wellness programs are the key to implementing change and implementing health and success. But don't take our word for it. I can quote statistics all day long from companies like Blue Cross Blue Shield that talk about return on investment for wellness programs, talk about how modifiable risk factors drive up employer premiums as much as 200 to 300%. WellCoa has some great stats out there as well about companies who have been implemented programs and had tremendous success, financial savings, reduced absenteeism, and healthcare costs. So what are 6 key components of an effective enrichment and wellness program? Well, number 6 is wellness. Now, our wellness component is all about creating balance. There's a lot of millionaires and billionaires in the grave that wish they could have bought more time or bought their health back or lived their lives differently. And likewise, I know a lot of super healthy people that have miserable relationships, that are flat broke and unhappy. So at some point, the stress from that is going to catch up and affect their health, just like you did with my brother. So in the wellness component, really teach people to find that balance in their life, find peace and harmony, and balance out their physical, mental, financial, and spiritual or higher self states. Number 5, fitness. Love fitness. I've been a fitness fanatic for about 18 years. But the most important thing that I've learned about fitness is meeting people on their own level. I mean, some people I've learned just will never step foot in a gym. I had a good friend up in Richmond, Virginia. She was always complaining about being overweight. Had a great year one year, so I decided for Christmas, she was a teacher, she was on a limited budget, so I thought I'm going to do something nice. I'm going to buy her a 1-year membership at Gold's Gym. It was a win-win-win situation. I got to help out a friend. She overcame the excuse of not having the resource to afford a gym membership, and my buddy worked at Gold's Gym as a salesman, so he got the sale. So I couldn't wait till Christmas to hand her that gift certificate. Handed it to her, she opened it, and her reaction was 180 degrees from what I thought it would be. She said, Sean, oh my God, what have you done? I can't take this. I said, sure you can. I was like, don't worry about it, man. It's all on me. She goes, no, you don't understand. I'm not in good enough shape to go to the gym. I was floored. I was like, what are you talking about, Julie? I mean, how do you go to the gym to get in shape? She goes, no. I'm not going to the gym like this. Her plan was to work out at home until she felt good enough about herself to go to the gym. Folks, you want to guess how many times she checked in at Gold's Gym in 1 year? 0, zip, nada, not one time. So I work with a great personal trainer here locally, Stillman Rice. Many of you know him. He's been in the business 30 years. He runs the Benefit Center with me over at DME right behind us. And I challenged Stillman. I said, Stillman, we got to come up with something that people can do in office attire with makeup on, with high heels on, without breaking a sweat, in under 3 minutes, multiple times during the day. He said, Sean, I got this. So we came up with some easy, anytime exercises that meet people at any level of fitness. Now, if we had more time today, I would run you guys through a few of them, but I'm going to demonstrate one of the most simple, easy, anytime, anywhere exercises that can totally change your physical and mental state, elevate your pulse, starts the detoxification process, and here it is. If you got heels on, you have to take them off, but if you got flats, it'll work. You just raise up onto the balls of your feet and then down to your heels, and then up on the balls of your feet and down to your heels, and then you slowly speed up the process. And maybe you leave your feet just a little bit like this. It's called rebounding. Maybe you put your hands up over your head and you just do this for 1, 2, 3 minutes at a time. And this motion, like shaking up a soda can, gets your lymphatic system going. Largest lymph nodes in the body are where? Armpits. Next closest soft tissue is what? Starts that detox process. It's a great prevention method at the grassroots level. So, there is no excuse. In fact, at DME, we say, what does DME stand for? It's not Direct Mail Express. It's don't make excuses, folks. All right, nutrition. There has to be a balance in nutrition as well. We poll all the people that we work with, and we find out where their interests are, where their challenges and where their problems are in our needs assessment. Right now, their biggest problem with nutrition is balancing their budget. So nutrition on a budget is key. One of the things that I'd love to do, I call it my fast food skit. I tell everybody I'm a health advocate who is a fast food junkie, but to me, fast food is an apple, an orange, a banana. It's fast, it's easy, it's in its own wrapper. And I actually teach people how you can go to Publix and eat predominantly organic, buying 7 days worth of food, 6 meals a day for an entire week for under $40. I take the receipt, I even videotape myself in the store, and we do these different exercises. So once again, DME, don't make excuses. We take away all the excuses. We come in, we do food demonstrations, juice tastings, open people's eyes to new ways of eating and healthy lifestyle. And we don't curse in any of our seminars or any of our programs, by the way. We don't use dirty, nasty 4-letter words. Dirtiest, nastiest 4-letter word in language, as far as I'm concerned, is D-I-E. Notice how it starts with T, diet. Motivation, because we all need a little kick in the butt sometimes, right? Important component in any program or any training, you've got to have some sort of motivational factor to get people to engage with you and to have that information stick. We found the best form of motivation is internal, intrinsic inspiration, the 3 N's. So when somebody is internally inspired, they're much more likely to pay attention, absorb that information, and go on and use it in their personal lives and professional lives as well. So we use a series of stories, quotes, examples to drive this point home. Number 2, personal development. Now, what is personal development? Historically, when we think of personal development, we think about things like stress reduction, goal setting, time management, and so on. And although these topics are extremely relevant and important today, personal development has evolved just as society has evolved. So even the term personal development has evolved into phrases such as human performance and maximized living. So today, personal growth encompasses such things as core values and effective communication. Utilization of technology is a big one as well. So in order to keep up with technology, society, and constant changes, we have to constantly evolve. A couple of my favorite phrases: if you're not developing, you're deteriorating. And in order to succeed, you must exceed the rate of development around you. True or true? We're constantly going through continuing education and profession as human resource managers and business leaders. So it's important that we stay on the up and up. Number 1, what is the number 1 most important component of any program? Well, it's so important. I'm gonna make you guys wait till the end to hear it, okay? What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna give you a couple of tangible takeaways that you can leave with today. Here's a criteria. It's gotta be easy, free, and available right now. Is that a deal? Who's ready for that? What's the number 1 most important element to life? I'll give you a hint. I want you to hold your breath until you think of it. What's the most important element to life? Air. Breath, right? If you don't believe me, keep holding your breath. Folks, depending on your body type, you can go approximately 40 days without food before you experience really serious problems. You can go about 4 days without water before we experience serious problems. 4 minutes without air, and we are brain dead. Air is our primary fuel, this oxygen. Every single cell in our body needs it. But unfortunately in this country, we do what's called half breathing. We don't fully oxygenate our lungs. If you ever go to a yoga class, they talk a lot about this. Meditation talks a lot about it as well. But it's so critical and so important. It's something that I've been doing for 17 years, and without fail, it works beautifully. I've been able to transition people off coffee with just simple breathing exercises. So we're going to do a few exercises this morning. Now the cadence on the breath exercise is going to be 1, 3, and 2. We're going to do 4, 12, and 8. So 4 seconds we'll breathe in, 12 seconds we'll hold, 8 seconds we'll exhale. Now before we do this breathing exercise, I'm going to demonstrate something to you. Why do we half breathe? Well, think about how most of us sit. We're either driving, typing, we're hunched over. When we hunched over, our ribs push into our diaphragm and lungs and keep them from fully oxygenating. So I want everybody to hunch over like you got some bad news, like you're working on a TPS report or something. Now I want you to take a deep breath, okay? Ready? On 3, breathe in all the way. And exhale. Okay, now I want you to throw your hands over your head real quick, just for a second. And then down. And I want you to imagine you just met the love of your life, you just got a raise, you just made a perfect hire, whatever puts you in a good mood. I want you to stand up tall and proud, keep your stride on. And now I want you to repeat the same thing. We're going to breathe in fully. On 3, ready? 1, 2, 3, breathe in. And out. Did you get a little bit more air in your lungs? Okay, now imagine we're a NASCAR, high performance vehicle. And we take and we pinch off, half of that gas line, or we, block half of the airflow into the carburetor. What's going to happen? The car's going to sputter and spurt, never hit top speed, never hit maximum performance, right? So we're doing that to ourselves all day. We're hunched over and walking around like this. So posture is very important. So everybody find your maximum posture. Arch your back, sit up proud. Now what we're going to do is we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 12. Now I'll make it a quick 12. Exhale for 8, and we're going to repeat this a couple of times, okay? Ready? And inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, again, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Exhale all the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Every last bit of air out of your lungs. And one more time. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Exhale all the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This exercise works beautifully. If you find yourself stressed out, lethargic after lunch, you just can't seem to wake up in the morning, you can do it in bed, you can do it while you're driving, you can do it while you're sitting at your desk. It's an easy, anytime, no excuse exercise. Who can commit to doing that at least 3 times a day? Raise your hand. Say, I can. Awesome. Okay, folks, my next tangible takeaway. What is the greatest factor in health, wellness, and success? What is the greatest factor in health and success?
Your mind.
Mind, your thought, the power of thought. Our thoughts control our lives, everything we do, the way we stand, the way we think, the words that come out of our mouth. Now, some of us speak before thinking, but guess what? It's still our subconscious thought that's controlling those words. So, be cognizant of your thoughts throughout the day. What are you thinking? What's going on in your mind? Be cognizant of the words that come out of your mouth. And I told you the dirtiest 4-letter in the word was D-I-E-T. But what are some other dirty 4-letter curse words that we should never use? Anybody? Throw them out. Can't. Won't. And one more with the D. Don't. Can't, won't, and don't. I can't do that. I don't know how. That won't work. So what if we replace those disempowering words with more powerful words like could, would, or should? Or even better, most powerful words like can, will, and do. I can do that, and I will do whatever it takes to make it happen. So the little cards that I put on your desk there, the affirmations of growth, this is something that I developed years ago. If I'm ever having a stressed out day, feeling inadequate, like I haven't accomplished enough, I'll whip out those little cards and I'll read a couple of phrases. Oftentimes I use it with coaching clients or I use it in some of our seminars. It's my gift to you. But what I would challenge you guys to do is to come up with your own words or phrases. Invent your own. I invented the word wealth, W-E-L-L-T-H, a balance between wellness and health. So that's my true wealth. So create your own words, create your own phrases. I've got a coaching client I'm working with right now for weight loss. She came up with her little mantra, I can't wait to lose weight. So when that cookie appears in front of her magically, and she wants to eat, she's like, oh, can't wait to lose weight, can't wait to lose weight. So whatever your goals are, create little mantras, little positive affirmations and positive words that can help you reinforce what you really want to do and resist the temptation. So okay, you guys ready for the number one most important component of any program? Leadership. There's absolutely positively not enough positive leadership in this world today. And I feel that most of the problems that we have in politics and in business is all a result of a lack of leadership in certain areas. Now, HR managers, you guys, the gatekeepers, as Lisa calls you, you're in a unique position to be extremely powerful leaders. You're essentially the hub of the company. The executives, the business owners, they're looking to you guys to keep everybody out of hot water and in compliance. They're looking to you to hire the right employees that are going to be congruent with the company's mission statement, that can perform and produce and turn profit for the company. And likewise, the employees, the associates, are looking to you guys for the right benefits, for the best pay that they can get, for an ear to talk to, for a mediator, so to speak. So you guys have tremendous power to be great influencers. Now, what's the best way to lead and influence? By example, absolutely. And we can teach others that you don't have to be a business owner, a leader, HR manager, a politician, or elected official to be a leader. You can be a leader simply by doing what you say you're going to do. I think it's one of the most important traits that we can possibly have. And the result is going to be teamwork and unity, and of course, increased workplace productivity, harmony, and all the good utopian things that come along with that. So I want to leave you with a real quick story that was one of the most powerful moments in my life. This happened years ago in my former career as a realtor and contractor. I was in Virginia. I'm driving around in my truck or my mobile office. I was having an extremely stressful day, a million things going on, fires to put out. I'm running late to my next appointment because my previous appointment showed up late. I'm texting, I'm driving, I pull up to a stop sign, and oh my God, I had a realization that I'm sure many of you have had before, and that was, how the heck did I get right here, right now? How did I drive the last 5 miles? Did I run the last 10 stop signs? Wow. So I realized right then and there that I might as well have been drunk while I was driving. My mind was that unfocused, and I was totally had no concentration. So as I put my cell phone in the cup holder, pulled up to that three-way intersection, I turned to look for oncoming traffic, and before I turned my head, something caught my eye across the street. It was a homeless man. And now this homeless man is quite a fixture around Richmond. But for some reason that day, I happened to see him at that place, at that bus stop. We locked eyes. Now this homeless man is unique. Not only is he homeless, he's relegated to a wheelchair because he is legless from the knee down. So all of his worldly belongings are strapped to his chair. He was holding something in his lap. He looked at me and he smiled from ear to ear for no apparent reason. Now previous to that, I've been thinking, man, my day is out of control. I got all this stress going on. I'm not gonna have time to go to the gym. I'm not gonna have time to work out, and that was not acceptable to me. When I saw him locked eyes and he smiled, it changed the course of the rest of my day and the rest of my life. I looped around the block, I went back home. When I was safely parked, I sent out a mass text to all my contacts, to all my leaders that day. I said, look, I'm gonna be unavailable, something's come up, and I turned my phone off. I went inside, put my running shoes on, my gym clothes on. I went out and run one of the most amazing 8 miles I've ever run in my life. Probably could have kept going. And when I got home, before I pulled my gym shoes off, I looked down at my legs and I massaged my legs and I thanked my lucky stars that I had legs and the ability to run. You see, I credit that homeless legless man with saving my legs and saving my life and impacting thousands as well. Because had I kept driving in the state I was in that day, who knows, I might have pulled out in front of a bus, got in T-bone, lost my legs, lost my life, or worse, hurt somebody else. But he just reminded me about attitude and appreciation. Here's a guy sitting in a wheelchair with no legs and all his worldly possessions strapped to his chair, but he could find a reason to smile. And to me, that was powerful at that moment. This guy really exhibited true inspirational leadership. He didn't even know it. And he's impacted literally the lives of thousands. How? Through me, because I shared a story with you guys. So my question to you is, if a legless, homeless man can find it within himself to smile for no apparent reason, and he can affect that many people, what are you, HR leaders, gatekeepers, going to do with your power, position, and influence? Thank you.